Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala nabina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabi ajma'in. Inshallah, today I'd like to talk about a small topic. The topic is very crucial and very important. How to bring back Muslims and Islam in the communities, urban cities where people have left the deen. I'm making this video because being in a city that's in the hood or within the inner city or in the urban areas, I find that you have a lot of people who used to practice Islam. And many times, from my own personal experience, when you walk outside or I go outside, I hear people, they say, give me salams. When I turn around and return the salams, I see a person, and it appears that they're not practicing Islam. When you start asking questions or start having a conversation with these individuals, you find out the person no longer practices Islam no more. Either or they're on drugs, either or they have a lot of problems in their home, either or if they're men, they're married to non-Muslim women. Some cases, they were practicing Muslim women, but they have non-Muslim boyfriends and like this, and they leave the deen because they run in the streets. This discussion or this particular topic for today is to open a discussion in the comment area already about how you bring people like this back to Islam. The reason why made me make the video today, I have been thinking about this for a long time. I just seen a video somebody made talking about how Islam, how Muslims, how Salafiyya, Wahhabism, ISIS, all this terrorist stuff and things like that. And the person, as he's talking and speaking, he mentioned that he used to be part of the Black Panther Party. He mentioned about Imam Jamil Alameen. And while the individual was talking his grievance, how Arabs came in the city where he is living, and it just took over. And when they took over, they never thought about the people who was actually in those communities in the hood, and it just ran them out. They never thought about the people in the community. So when they came in the city, meaning the Arab communities or the Arab Muslims, what they did is they thought about only themselves, while the people who live in the neighborhood either have to defend for themselves, or from what I'm seeing the guy in the video, they start hating Islam because how the Arabs have a lot of racism with them. And this person had a lot of grievance or legitimate grievance that are very common in the inner city. But in the middle of his video, he starts smoking weed, starts smoking drugs, and that was the end of me listening to him, because it showed that he wasn't a person who was an intellectual, whether it showed the level of his ignorance. And some of it is due to himself, and some of it is due to his experience with those particular Muslims who disregard those individuals in these neighborhoods in the inner city. So my real question is a discussion within the inner cities in America. How do you bring back Muslims who was once practicing Islam and no longer practicing Islam, or no longer consider themselves Muslims, or consider themselves Muslims, but they're no longer practicing Islam? This is the real discussion. Part of the discussion, maybe I'll make more videos on the discussion, depending on people's response, if I get any response at all. But from what I have seen over the years, when I listen to these individuals and the excuses they make why they don't practice Islam no more within the inner city, a lot of times they do blame the Muslim who come from outside the country, foreign Muslims who come up in the neighborhood or in the area where they live in the inner city, because we know in the U.S., especially in New York City, that a lot of the Muslims who are foreigner, whether they Arab from Yemen, Egypt, wherever, Pakistan, Bangladesh, that the government allow them to set up shops, stores, business in all black neighborhoods. And many times that the individual, when they own these businesses, they don't hire black people, and even the black people who are Muslim, they don't hire them, and they take the money from the community and they don't invest back into the community, right? So this is one of the major grievances when I hear a lot of the people who are in these inner cities who are Muslims or one time considered themselves Muslims, and why they start practicing Islam. This is some of the reasons they give why they're not practicing Islam no more. And this is a legitimate grievance. Even though when they're saying this, and myself listening to them, these are the excuses that they are giving. But the real excuse is because they weaken faith, they on drugs, or they like to hang in the streets, and they're on drugs. They make all these type of excuses why not to practice Islam, and these are some of the legitimate reasons why they're not practicing. But some of the grievance that they say, or the reasons why they say they're not practicing, they do use about how they're dealing with Muslims who are from other Muslim countries or from other places in the Muslim world. So my topic for this discussion, well, I hope some people leave comments or like make a reply video to this. How do you deal with Muslims like this? How do you bring back individuals like this? How you bring them back to the masjid? How you bring them back to the community? Some of the things I want you to think about before you make a comment or reply is, okay, another reason why a lot of them are leaving or they left, look at their economic situation. Many of them in their economic situation, it's not doing too well. Either they have low education equal to low income, or no access to finances to do business. Another issue they have is non-Muslim friends and non-Muslim family members. Another thing about them, you look at the situation, they're not learning Islam properly, and that's the number one issue I like to say. They're not learning Islam properly. For example, the video I just seen, this guy, and I commented on him, he went off on me. He's talking about all these grievances, and he starts smoking the blunt. He's using drugs. So, a person like this, that I find there's many people like him who have left Islam, and their number one thing they're saying is how they are treated by another Muslim and the person who brought them to the deen. In a lot of cases, the people who brought them to Islam, either or they are good speakers about Islam, either are the other people, blacks in the community. As his brother mentioned, Imam Jamil Al-Amin, he was part of our organization with Imam Jamil Al-Amin. And Imam Jamil Al-Amin currently, he's incarcerated in prison, accused of killing two officers, police officers, right? So he'd been locked up for a long time. And I had met a brother who was a Muslim brother who worked for the feds, who came out of Imam Jamil Al-Amin community. He said there's a lot of things about Imam Jamil Al-Amin that is negative and that is not positive. And the brother himself that I met from the feds, who is FBI many years ago, who came out of Imam Jamil Al-Amin community, told me even he had to leave his community because Imam Jamil Al-Amin had a death threat on him. Because, he said the man was a dictator and he wanted people to do things his way. So, why I'm mentioning this is that a lot of the people also noticed or leaving the deen, or they came to Islam and left the deen, is the personalities that they've been following. The personalities or the imams or the Muslim caller to Islam in their neighborhood or the community they come from. And many times, these imams or these personalities, they themselves, they're really not an imam. When you evaluate them, when you we give a criteria to what is the imam in Islam, not what we say in America, what is the imam, but what Islam says was the imam. What is a Muslim leader? What is a student of knowledge? What is a tulab al-ilm? A lot of these particular imams don't meet none of these requirements. A lot of the imams, they don't reach these requirements, and sometimes the people who follow them, they follow them blindly, emotionally, wholeheartedly, and then if the imam has an issue, or this caller or this personality has an issue, like Imam Jalami, he had an issue and he had to go to prison. Then he lost, a lot of his followers were lost after that because they were caught up with the personality and not caught up with learning the religion. So, for the comments, when anybody leave a comment related to how do you bring back people like this to the religion, one could say teaching Quran and Sunnah. That's understood. But Quran and Sunnah from what perspective? For this gentleman who was looking at his video, he was saying that they was teaching them Salafiyah according to people in Saudi. So he said that when these Arabs came and they was calling people to the Islam, is really calling people to follow in obedience to the Saudi government. And when he said this, I understood perfectly what he was talking about. So that also means that some people I see that do leave Islam, they say yes, when a person comes or the foreign Muslim comes, He's coming with his own ideology, his own thinking, his own hidden agenda, and he's not looking to benefit the people in that particular land or that particular place, where he's just trying to benefit his cause, his own self, his own business, or his own people. So this will bring this up for discussion, inshallah. What are some of the particular solutions? How do you solve these problems? How do you bring people like that back to the religion? Because we do have a lot of them in the inner city in our community. We have a lot of them in the inner city, especially like in New York, in the inner cities, places that have a lot of poverty. You'll find a lot of people who were once Muslims, once practicing Islam. I was walking in my building, and I had a book with me. It was Subul Salam Sharh al-Bulugh al-Maram. I had this book in Arabic. It's a fiqh book, a hadith book related to fiqh, and it's in Arabic. So one of my neighbors, who was black, older gentleman, he said to me, "Is this Yusuf Ali, something like that, translation of the Quran?" And I've been living in this building now, alhamdulillah, for 2 years, like this, around this time, right? So I'm like, no, this is actually a book related to Islamic fiqh. It's not Quran. When I heard this from him, the first thing came to myself is, oh, this person must one time consider himself, or one time practicing Islam, that the name of the Quran that he was mentioning, the translation of the Quran he was mentioning, this is an old translation of the Quran, maybe from the 70s or the 80s. And so when he mentioned that name, I said, wow, that's like a Quran from translation from a long time ago. So you have to look and see, me and ourselves, a person, what made them leave the deen or start practicing the deen, and how do you bring people like this back to Islam? That individual in my building, I never had really discussion with him or open topic with him, because I know he's always looking at me strange. Every time I see him, he always look at me strange, and then sometimes he give me salam, but I don't see him going to the masjid. I don't see his women covered. Even sometimes his companions, they give me the salams, they mention these things, I see them going to the liquor store, so they're not practicing Islam. So we have a lot of people like this in our communities in the inner city. So the topic is, or the discussion is, how do you bring this person, these individuals, back to Islam, And then inshallah, in my reply video to this video, I will give some of the Islamic solutions that I know of calling, how do you call people like this back to Islam? And what are the main reasons they leave? And I think I mentioned some of them in the video, either or the experience with the Muslims who come from outside, number one. The imams and personalities that brought them to the religion, either have a corrupt understanding of Islam, or himself is not a scholar or a student of knowledge. They lost hope in this person, or they was abused or took advantage by this person, or the individual, he never really gave up. He never really learned about Islam. He really never learned about Islam. Like the man in the video I mentioned, I just watched a few minutes ago, mentioning about some crazy stuff he's talking about. But he said he went to Egypt for 3 months, and he never wanted to go, and he says, oh, I speak Arabic, and he started cussing in English, and may Allah guide this person to the Sunnah, to the Islam. But his grievance is how the Arabs in the neighborhood where he lived, which he said was a lot of Egyptians, when they came to the part of the city he lived in, here in America, which is in the hood, which is down south, which is majority of the hood, mostly all black, how this took over, and they excluded the people who actually built the community. So how you bring people back like this to Islam? How you really focus on teaching them what is the Quran and the Sunnah? How do you maintain yourself? Then he mentioned some things that they bicker about or they lost. He said they had a school, and he said that the Egyptians, when they came, said, oh, you cannot have a masjid in the school from mortgage, and this is true. But he said they closed the school and then they replaced it with nothing else. He said they opened up a place to feed poor people, and he said they wouldn't support that. But from the brother etiquettes and the manners, I see him on the video, smoking weed on drugs. I understand why anybody wouldn't support him. But this type of grievance is a reality in a lot of our communities. And me personally experienced these things, being Muslim, experienced these things from Muslims who are not originally from this country. I experienced them. And actually, one of the brothers right here, Sahir Atar, who was watching the video, matter of fact, he put a comment or he made a post the other day or 2 days ago, our Amsi, about 2 days ago, about some Muslims from India or Pakistan, how they treat him because he is not from their ethnic group. So that is a reality, that there are a lot of us who experience these things. And then from amongst us, some are stronger than the other. From amongst us, some of us stronger than the other. Like me, I grew up in the inner city. I could deal with this stuff, even though I have 4 eyes, I'm like a nerd. I mean, I really come from the streets, I came to Islam from prison. So there's a lot of things I could tolerate, and there's a lot of things that I don't tolerate. And there's some things I could tolerate, right? So my personality is not like another brother who is school all his life. Maybe he's black like myself, he's black like me, but maybe he never went through never been through no racial problems. No one never called him a nigger before. He probably no one never called him. Living in New York, you could believe in New York, and a white person would never call you for example, this word nigger, right? They might say it to themselves or say it behind your back, but in New York, you will find black people who never experience racism like this, right? But when he comes to the masjid, he see it. The person doesn't want to stand next to him in the salat because he's black, for example. The person doesn't want to marry him to his daughter because he's black, for example. All right? So, he never experienced this with the kuffar in New York, for example, when he went to school. Like, I went to a public school that was predominantly white. I mean, I experienced that stuff in school growing up. And, used to fight. I've been to prison. Somewhat experienced that in prison. Yeah, I did experience that in prison for sure. I experienced that in prison. So, I mean, it wasn't new to me. So, that stuff came to me, I know how to deal with it. But you have some Muslims who are not strong like that, who don't have a personality like my personalities. I know how to deal with that stuff. When that stuff come to me, I know how to deal with it. I know how to put it in check. I know how to put them in place. I know what to say to the person. But some of us don't have that, or they can't take it too much. 1 incident, 2 incidents, that's it. They can probably take 1 or 2 incidents, but every time you come to the masjid, the same incident over and over, acting over and over, is happening over and over and over. I met a brother from Haiti many years ago, a companion of mine, a Haitian brother. And brother going to school, young guy, he wanted to get married. So I could see in his face it's hurting. He really needs to get married. So he was walking to a all Pakistani masjid. And he said, he came in here. I said, I didn't see you in a while. Why you coming? He said, he needs to get married. He's coming to the masjid to help him. I start laughing. I said, they're not going to help you here. They're not going to help you here. I said, how do you deal with a situation like that? Because when he found out that they won't help him because he's black and they don't like black people, he start coming around to this match. He start coming around, period. So these are things that happen in our community. Now, a person who lives, for example, like you from Philly, a brother from Philly or a brother from New Jersey, you could go to a masjid is all black, right? You can go to a masjid, a lot of masjids is going to be you're seeing people from your ethnic background. So you won't experience that. We could do business with each other. We can marry with each other, right? But in majority of cases, when it comes to Islam and Muslims in America, we're not the minority. We're not the minority, right? We're not the majority. We're not the majority. We are the minority. We're not even half. I don't even think when it comes to the Muslims, we're not even half. So there's many masjids you'll go to, and I'm talking specifically in New York, where there's maybe 2 or 3, 4 or 5 African American masjids. Half of them are struggling. So most likely when you go to another masjid, you're going to have to deal with some of these things. And sometimes when people masjid in a community, they build it, and the foreigners come in, either they take it over or they start their own masjid or they take it over and they run them out. Some of these type of incidents and some of these type of prejudice and some type of these type of things at times run people away from Islam. Run people away from Islam. Like the video I just seen, it was a classic example on when a black person who becomes Muslim and they lost their imam. The imam that they had in the community, they lost, who was black, their leader. And one of the things about black leadership, I noticed in America, with and without Muslims, it's like a dictatorship. So when they have the leadership or they have the power, they never teach others with amongst their group how to maintain this thing once they are gone or they're no longer in the picture, because it's all about me and it's all about me keeping some type of money or wealth through leadership, money, wealth, women, homes, properties. Sometimes, in the black community, they use these things to get these type of status. So they're not trying to train people to, if they die or something happened to them, that they can take leadership and take over. So in this brother particular case, I could tell that when the guy got incarcerated, the imam got incarcerated, it left them shattered. And this is why the Arabs were able to do what they were able to do, because they understand how you run a masjid, because they have it in their country. Know how things should be, because they understand a little bit more about Islam than the average convert to Islam. They understand more about Islam. So my question, how do you bring back people like this? And then another question why I didn't post is how you prevent people like this from not leaving the deen. How you prevent people like this, brothers like this, sisters like this, not leaving the deen. This is another question, because amongst American converts to Islam, this not even a topic on their mind, but it's a reality. It's just either or they're new to Islam and they haven't came to them yet, or they've been Muslim for a long time and it's been happening and it has been ignoring it. It's been ignoring it, act like it's not there, start hating themselves, start dressing like the people that hate them, trying to be more like them so they will accept them. Or they're like in the state of I'm about to, in their heart or in their conscience. It's like they're about to leave or about to stop practicing Islam, or be reluctant to coming to the masjid due to they don't tired of seeing these things, or just leave. So some of us are all on the break, on the edge. Some of us about to hit the edge and just don't know, because all the converts that I met as African American Muslims, like myself, was a convert to Islam. New converts who are black or Hispanic, all of them, some way, some form, some fashion, is dealing with it or in that situation. So not about how you bring these other individuals back, but how do you prevent those within the community from not leaving? Because sometimes you have people who take shahada and depend on the people around them, the type of community they're in. If it's a mixed community, they will blend in. If it's not a mixed community, it was dominant one race and you're the minority there. And then, especially if it's an Indo-Pak community or Southeast Asian, because a lot of the prejudice and the racism from the Muslims, you're going to see a lot of it, the majority of it from Southeast Asian Muslims, and then the Arabs. Me personally, my personal experience, been in different places and traveling, they will see if their skin is dark skin or black. Like me, I'm light skin. I'm light skin. So our brother who's darker than me, he see me more than me, because I'm light skin, right? So somebody see me, I'm light skin, they're gonna say, hey, this guy here, look, this guy got somebody in his family who is white. That's how they think. You see me light skin? They would ask me sometimes, even as far as, is somebody in your family white? I'm telling them, no. Nobody in my family is white. I said, anybody in my family is white is the slave master or the person who raped my great grandmother or something like this. That's what I tell them. I said, nobody in my family is white. So I get a little pass because, look, my skin is a little bit whiter here. You see this? A little bit whiter my skin. But a guy who's darker, he see it more. Wallah, I have a friend of mine. We go to the same masjid sometimes. They treat him worse than me, because his skin, he's jet black. He's Jamaican. And he be asking me, and I be telling him, and one day in Ramadan, they was like the imam in Ramadan telling him, get out of here. That's for no reason. And people were shocked. And the brother said, if I was Bangladeshi, you would have never said this to me. If I was Bangladeshi, you would never open your mouth like that. You never disrespect me like that because and his skin color. And he says, "Why don't I have the same issue that he have with them?" I said, number one, when I go and come. You trying to be their friend? I'm not trying to be their friend. I go and come. I only come when I need to, and I don't never ask them for anything. Never ask them for anything. I don't need nothing from them. I go and come, and I'm not trying to be everybody's friend. But the way it happened to him, he was very hurt. Very hurt. Very hurt. So the real question is, how do you deal with these type of situations? How you prevent the Muslim who's new to Islam, and how you bring back the ones who used to practice Islam, stop practicing it due to these type of things. You know, because sometimes, you know, what's going on in a person's mind, we can never see from the outside. But we don't know what's going on in a person's mind. We don't know what's going on in his home. We don't understand his social structure, his economic structure. We don't know what he's going through. Many of us, we don't know what that particular person is going through. Many of us, we don't know. Many of us, we don't know. You know, how do you bring the person who left, stop practicing Islam because of this? And how you bring the person that is Muslim, but he's on the break of he can't take it no more. Because I have found Muslims where they don't leave the religion, they don't leave the deen, and they're faced with these type of racism and prejudice with Muslims. They become like, I've seen some of them, they are like this, they're like, they didn't leave Islam, but because of the prejudice they see and the racism they see, they don't interact with the Muslims a lot. So they start interacting with their family members who are not Muslim, co-workers who are not Muslim, some of their friends who are not Muslim, and you start noticing the further and further it is, the less you see them in the masjid, the more you see them like dressing and looking like a non-Muslim. You know, dressing and looking like a non-Muslim, for example. You know, I met a brother and I see him one day had the mohawk, and I was like shocked. You know, and brother been Muslim for many years like myself, and I see him with a mohawk. I'm 39 years old, so he has to be my age or older. And I was like, you know better. But I noticed because of the prejudice, the things he see with the Muslims or how they treat him because he's black, he just fall back. You know? And his falling back sometimes from the masjid, from these racist Muslims, he's not just falling back on coming to the masjid, he's also falling back on learning about the religion, learning about the Sunnah, learning about Quran, learning about the Islamic etiquettes. He start falling back from all these things also. That's why he's imitating the kuffar. Because maybe the person in that community was teaching Quran or calling to Sunnah himself is racist. That's the reality in a lot of these communities. The guy who is supposed to be the imam calling people to Allah, calling people to the Sunnah, himself, he is a racist. He is a racist. You know, he's a racist. He himself doesn't like you. Like my friend I told you, who's very dark skinned, he's Jamaican. The guy who told him this was the imam in the masjid during Ramadan, right before Salatul Taraweeh. And actually, they had an imam who was from Jordan who was there, and they heard him talk to the brother like this, and the guy from Jordan had to get up and tell the imam, "Hey man, what's wrong? This is wrong in Islam. Why are you talking to this guy like this? This is Ramadan." You know, had to give him some nasiha. So what you do, how you keep people from leaving the deen, the people who are left the deen, how you bring them back. I was walking somewhere in the street maybe 2 months ago, and I was walking in front of my son's nursery school, and every day I see this guy there smoking a blunt, getting high, every single day. Every single day. So one day he stopped me, and he said, "Assalamu alaikum." I said, "Wa alaikum salam." He said, "Brother, where you get these jalabiyas from?" Just like that. I said, "Oh man, this guy is Muslim, man. This guy, you know." And I said to myself in my head, I'm like, man, this guy is Muslim, he's smoking weed, and on top of that, he's smoking weed in front of a nursery. Can't be that ignorant. a place where children going in and out, and they have their daycare in the schoolyard right there, and you smoking weed every day. That's the first thing that came to my mind. How you be Muslim and can be so jahl. So I actually asked about my jalabiyah. So I asked him, where's the masjid? I know where the masjid is. I asked him where's the masjid to know if he's practicing Islam or not. He said, oh, there's no masjid in this area. So I was like, okay, what masjid you go to? He's like, and the people who don't practice like this is the answer. Oh, I make the salat wherever I'm at. And that's how the sign is that they don't pray, right? They don't go to no masjid, they don't go to Jum'ah. That's the sign. He know what I mean. What masjid you go to? You probably haven't been practicing the deen so long. He said, I make salat wherever I'm at. That's his answer, meaning he don't pray. How can he pray? He's high on drugs, number one. Then I said, okay. Then he said, won't you get your kids and my kids and we could make salat, we could give some dawah. I said, okay, mashallah. I said, when you get to some of the Muslims in the neighborhood who own business, like a lot of Yemeni, find the ones who are not into haram, don't have these haram business saying maysir, lotto, and khamr, and alcohol. I said, get the ones who are religious, who's not selling these things. Many times here where I live, they would contribute because they don't want to lose their kids. They would contribute to an Islamic center. They would contribute to a masjid. They would pay the rent. They would do all these things because they want to have the Islamic environment, right? He said, oh man, these people are ahlul bidah. And inside, I'm dying. I'm like, inside myself, I'm just dying. This guy talking about their ahlul bidah. He's smoking weed. He's right there, have a blunt in front of me, in front of a school, talking to me with a blunt. He worrying about these people's are ahlul bidah and they going to the hellfire. They told me they going to the hellfire. They're ahlul bidah. So the first question came to my mind. This guy who's not practicing Islam, he's not practicing Islam. I see him all the time around Salat time, smoking weed in front of this nursery, getting high. He told me his whole life story as an excuse. He been locked up, he been in prison, he been there, he been that. He been there, that. Then he told me he know Arabic, start speaking Arabic, like the guy seen in this video. And at the kalam luga Arabiya, that's the only sentence they have in Fusha. So he said, and at the kalam luga ta Arabiya. So he started talking, and I started talking in Arabic, some particular words in Arabic. I know somebody who know Arabic will know these words. I just used them just to see where he's at. He didn't kind of understand what I was saying. So I said, okay, where you learn Arabic? He said, oh, the school in Virginia. And people from Saudi had their own school in Virginia after 9/11 got shut down. Many brothers who went overseas and went to study in Saudi through this school and stuff like that, and they learned Arabic in this particular school in Virginia. So he was from that era, so understood the era he came out of. And I look, why you leave the deen? And I always look, why they stop practicing Islam. Either they sins, the callers, they follow. This particular guy, he kept on mentioning Ali al-Tamimi. Ali Tamimi right now is in prison. This guy has takfiri. Alright? After 9/11, they set him up and he got incarcerated. They set him up. They set him up. Say he was doing paintballing, going to shoot paintball. And she said he was training for Al-Qaeda and all this stuff. They set him up, to lock him up. But he is takfiri. So I said, all this guy, he's following, he's praising this guy, Ali Tamimi. And this guy got a blunt in his hand, not praying, getting high in front of a nursery with children who have their yard outside. He's smoking a blunt. Talk about these Yemeni people are ahlul bidah and going to the hellfire in the neighborhood. Give me excuses why he doesn't want to pray. Give me all the excuses why he's not practicing Islam. Then he asked me, do I know the book Kitab al-Tawheed? Got the blood in his hand. Then he asked me, do I know Kitab al-Tawheed? And he said, and he gave me a particular explanation of Kitab al-Tawheed, al-Fath al-Majid. And he says, the Fath al-Majid, this is the one written by the grandson of Sheikh Muhammad Abdul Wahab. This dude, whole time got a blunt in his hand telling me this. And I said to myself, Hujja alayhi yawm al-qiyamah. It's proof against him on day of judgment. This guy, he knows better. But what is the corruption? What stopped him practicing Islam? Is the personalities they follow and the situation they are in. And this particular guy, personality, Ali Tamimi, he didn't benefit from this guy. Because Ali Tamimi whole program was, he's takfiri. That's his whole program, focused on the Muslim government outside, political politics related to the Muslim country outside, not related to elevating, educating the Muslims here. So that brother was following this guy whose whole agenda was focusing on the Arab governments outside. And the brother was not able to focus on himself and his own family. And that's why he's smoking weed, don't pray, don't go to Salah, and smoking weed in front of a nursery school with children in it. And all he could quote to me is Antakallan Loga Arabiya, this sentence in Arabiya, this only one sentence he know. And he could tell me some book, Kitab al-Tawheed, that he don't understand nothing about the book. So the real question has to be for the thinkers. People who could think, but everybody can't think. Every Muslim cannot think. If he was able to think, many of us are able to think, we won't be in a situation like the guy who was smoking weed and the other brother I mentioned in the video. And I was very shocked. I told him why he left Islam in this video from some black nationalist movement. And I even mentioned to him in the comment. They said that the Black Panther Party was destroyed by the U.S. government introducing drugs. That's how they was destroyed. I said they had many tactics to destroy every civil right movement. And one of the tactics they used for the Black Panther Party under the COINTELPRO program, it was drugs. And look, it is your number one downfall right now, smoking weed. What is the solution for these type of brothers and people? How you bring back to the deen? Because this guy in the video was talking about the Arabs, what they brought to him, where they was at in Georgia. This brother here is talking about Imam Jamil Al-Amin. They were in Georgia, and he said the Arabs. He's talking about Salafiyah. He doesn't understand. His brother don't understand what Salafiyah is. He says it's terrorism and this stuff. He doesn't understand what Salafiyah is. But yes, in a sense, when he says this, in a sense, yes, this is the ideology that people brought related to Saudi government. And the Arab calling black people to the Arab political agenda in the Arab country, which doesn't benefit them living in Islam, practicing Islam here in America, doesn't benefit their deen. Because the same Arab guys talking about Saudi, they see you as Zinji, Sud, nigger. These are words in Arabic for nigger. They have a whole bunch of them in Arabic. I probably heard all of them from them. This is the words they think of you. And this is not to say Salafiyya is false or Salafiyya is the truth. But many of us, we don't understand what Salafiyya is. Many of us don't understand. Even in America, to this day, many people who claim in da'wah to Salafiyya, very few of them understand. If you're not a sheikh, you're not a talib, you're not a student of knowledge, you really don't understand what is Salafiyya. Any people could be mad with me, dislike me, refute me. If you're not a student of knowledge, you don't know nothing about Salafiyya. I don't care. If you don't know Arabic language and you're not a student of knowledge, you will never know about Salafiyya. What is Salafiyya? Real Salafiyya. Because Salafiyya is talking about as-Salatul Salih, our pious predecessors, and their mathab, their school or their way. You can't transpass, or you cannot walk on that path and not know their way. They didn't speak English. They didn't speak Urdu. They didn't speak Pashwa. Arabic language. If I say Wallah, I say right now, I don't take nothing from Abu Khadija. I don't take nothing from this guy. Many Salafis in America get upset. Oh, man, you know, that's shit. Salafi is not connected to no personality. Salafi is not connected to no personality. No sheikh, no alam, no mithab. Ila kitabillahi wa sunnah nabi. It's only related to the book, Quran and the Sunnah, and Nusus. So many of us, we look at the people who leave the deen, start practicing Islam. Those who are on the break, You look at it in detail. I'm talking about from African American Muslims, black Muslims, or white Muslims, because I even find white Muslims go through the same problem. Because I lived in Canada for about 2 years, and majority of all the converts in Canada are, they're not black people. They're white. They're Caucasian. And if they're black Caribbean, or black African from a country that's not a Muslim country, or they're Caribbean. The majority of people, maybe the converts in Canada, majority, maybe most likely, are white, Caucasian. So they go through it too. Because I lived in Canada for 2 years. They go through it too. Remember, I went to a masjid in Canada. Man, this masjid was beautiful. No one goes there. No one prays there. They don't even give for Fajr 3 people. Huge masjid. And looked, and one of my companions, who was Caucasian, he told me how they got the money for the masjid. I said, how you get the money from the masjid? He said they took all the white convert Muslims, himself, including himself. He said they sent us to Dubai and Qatar and have us begging for money. And they said they use us because we're white and our white skin to get the money from the donations. They gather hundreds of thousands, and it costs $1 million. Each person allowed to bring about $10,000 cash to the airport, and the rest through checks. And he said they used our white skin to build their masjid, which none of them had no say-so in the masjid. So they do white people, the white Muslim converts, they do them the same thing. They do the white converts the same thing. They use them. They won't use me because I'm too dark. They won't send me to no Qatar. They won't send me to Dubai. I'm too dark. I look like one of them anyway over there. They will probably ask me, you Muslim, your father Muslim, your family Muslim? They see my name because I have a Muslim name legally. So they send the white guy convert because they think Canada, America equals white faces, right? So they even mistreat, do the same thing to the white Muslims, Caucasian Muslims. They do the same thing to them. And even there, I looked at some of the Caucasian Muslims who practice Islam, who are not that strong, and what happens to them? Who the Iman is weak. Some of them, it happens to them too. I seen him, man, left the deen, left Salafiyya, or left Islam. And you look at all the situations when they leave, why they left. Some could be personal. They have a defect in the understanding of Islam. They never really learned the religion. They learned somebody's culture from some country and thinking that is Islam. Or they learned somebody's political agenda. Because Salafiyya is not a political agenda. Salafiyya has nothing to do with politics. But some people, especially Arabs, use Salafiyya for a political agenda. And that's a reality. Some particular scholars or personalities, it's better not scholar, personalities from the Arab world use Salafiyya as a hizb or group for a political agenda. That is a reality. Yes. Some use for their own agenda. That is a reality. But in America and in Canada, it's always like this. A one-eyed king in the land of the blind. So somebody come, no Arabic, must be Arab himself, can misguide many of us. Many of us. Then the other side of it, why some of the people leave the religion. The other side of it, they're not learning Islam properly. They're not giving up the ideology, the ideas that they have before Islam, coming from Christianity and coming from the sick things we have in our society. It's not even from Christianity, but some other sick things from our society, like feminism, things like this. We come to Islam, we don't give up these things. Feminism is one of them. The men that has other issues they have, or some ideas and things how they used to do things, because this is what Christians practice in the Western world. When we come to Islam, and we don't give up that stuff, and we don't replace it with the haqq, what is it was from Quran and Sunnah, and we don't learn it, and we don't take learning serious, or we don't have no one to learn from. If you don't have someone to learn from, then you look for someone you can learn, because the internet is very broad right now. I have many Islamic universities online and stuff like that. Just make sure they're legit. Just make sure they're on Quran and Sunnah. Make sure you always have somebody with you who's a scholar or a student of knowledge. But people do leave the religion for these reasons. political agenda from other individuals, put their trust in the wrong individuals, and not learning the religion and not connecting themselves to Allah. Not connecting themselves, meaning having a relationship with Allah from the correct means. So that's the topic I want to start for this whole week, inshallah. Because now, I'm getting a little bit older. I work as an imam in a masjid. I see a lot of things now that I didn't see before. Or I recognize some things that I knew from before, but now I see a little bit more clear picture. Because now I get to deal with people, especially I'm in a community, it's a mixed community, people from different ethnic groups, right? And I know as each ethnic groups, they have their struggle. So that's why we can't blame Arabs for our problems, because they got their own problems. We can't blame Pakistanis for their problems, or the Asian Muslims for our problems. They have their own problems, trust me. Everybody have their own problems, and especially if they're immigrants in America. If they're immigrants in America, trust me, they got problems. Because the first thing should come to your mind, why they leave the Islamic country to come here. Either there's some political problems in their country, or some economic problems in their country, or both, political and economic problems in their country. Because they're not practicing something from the Islam. So left their countries in turmoil, or political problems, or economic situation. That's the first thing you should see. Does that we belittle that person, that Muslim? Do we look down at him look him in a different way, a different eye? No, it doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that we look down at that Muslim because he's from a country, because his financial status. Allah innama mu'minuna ikhwa. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Quran, indeed the believers are brothers. The believers are brothers. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says this in Quran. So we can't say we can't look down at the next Muslim. Now, can we blame them from all our problems? I gave this some of the answer. I hope this starts a topic. African Americans, we always blame Caucasian people for our problems, white people. And the truth is, they are the cause of our problem. I'm not gonna say they did not no blame. They have a lot of blame. Yes, they have blame. You know, people ask me, some foreigners ask me sometimes, Muslims, foreigner, oh, why these black people are like that? I say, you know nothing. You know nothing about American history yourself. You only come here for money. You know nothing about American history. You should be quick to talk about these people because you know nothing about them. You know nothing about their struggle. And I said to them, as soon as you get in problems, we're the first people you come to. So you should be talking about us about why they're in the situation where they're in. Either or, you're going to call them to Islam, teach them Islam. If you're able to, you teach them about Islam. In many cases, some of the foreigners, some of them, can't teach us because they don't know about Islam themselves. That's the reality. But as black people in America, can we blame white people for our problems? White people in America, they have part of the blame. Yes, a big portion of the blame is on them. I'm not going to disagree with that. That's 100% true. Because we didn't come here on our own. Our ancestors didn't come here on their own. Some of the foreign Muslims, when they come to this country, the government gives them help, give them aid. They like to say black people's own welfare. The reality is when a lot of foreigners come to this country, they give them the welfare. They give them welfare because they come through here as refugee. Being a refugee meaning that you get all type of government aid, which is through welfare. Which is through social services. You get everything, the medical, the financial, all the assistance come through social service. That's welfare. So they can't say black people on welfare and all that stuff. So do we blame us as black people, blame white people for all our problems? All the blame is on them. This is very important. A majority of it, yes. But do we use that as excuse not to do what Allah gave us, a brain, a mind, a body to do? Allah gave mankind intellect. Allah says in the Quran, Iqra. Your brain is not slaved or wrapped or controlled. Allah gave mankind intellect. That's why the brain, we call it in Arabic al-aql. Al-mukh, we call man in Arabic language, or man in general, aql. Aql means intellect. In the Arabic language, insan, mankind, is considered to be aql, intellect. Allah gave us a brain to use, to take us out our situation. So Allah give every mankind the tools that we need. So do we blame white people? They have their blame. They have their blame. They have their big faults. But we use that as an excuse not to do what we're supposed to do. Do we use that as an excuse to do what we're supposed to do? We use that as an excuse. We can't do what we're supposed to do because these people, these white people. So it goes back to the Arab and the foreign Muslims. Yes, they have prejudice. A lot of them have prejudice with them. Yes, a lot of Arabs are prejudiced. They racist. Yes, this is the truth. Yes, this is true. Yes, I live in an Arab country. I can say yes, but does it mean all of them are racist? Rather, they racist or not racist. That's an excuse for me not to practice Islam? It's not an excuse for me learning Islam and put it into practice? Did not the Prophet ﷺ have his enemies educate him? Meaning that those prisoners of war did not teach people who could read? So you have somebody, you Arab, and they're racist and they dislike you. If they have something for Islam to offer you and it's correct, take it and go. Take it and use it. Does not America does this? America is a very racist society. It's a very racist, prejudiced society. But do not open their doors for immigrants. Why they open their door for immigrants? Because they know with these people, they come with talent, money that could benefit their government, their society. So they use it to their benefit. And then when they get tired of it, they just kick them out. As Trump is doing now. They get their benefit, who could benefit them, and whoever don't benefit them, bring them problem, they kick them out. So black people, if we're going to say these people are racist, these people are prejudiced, these people are preventing us from practicing Islam, whatever, they hate us, they don't like us, so what? So what? They hate the Messenger of Allah, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Pharaoh hated Musa. The people who knew him, they make fun of him. Ibrahim's father hated him and tried to kill him. What excuses do we have? The prophets went through this. The messengers went through this. The Prophet ﷺ, who fought the Prophet ﷺ? His own blood, his own people. We're no Europeans fighting Prophet ﷺ until the Muslims had the strength and they fought the Romans and they conquered over them. Arabs in general, they were considered to be barbaric, uncivilized people. This is why other people's civilization didn't conquer over them. Look at the wisdom Allah give you. Allah took the people who was from the desert, educated them, and allowed them to conquer over those people who had civilizations. Huh? So what, black people, what's our excuse for not practicing Islam? Do you think you practice Islam, forget who's racist, man, forget who don't like you, forget who doesn't want to marry you to their daughter, so what? Take the haqq, take the Islam, and go. Allah going to give you victory. Allah going to give you victory. So those Muslims will have these prejudice, will have these things with them. They don't want you, don't worry, because their misunderstanding of Islam, their incorrect understanding of Islam is the reason why they're in the conditions they are in. And if they don't want the truth, you can't be Muslims and racist and hate other Muslims. They don't want the haqq, they don't want the truth, and you take it and you don't act like them, then Allah going to give you some victory and some status over them one day. One day going to be naming their kids after black people who are Muslim. Huh? One day going to ask you, can you marry their women? But this is not a topic about women. And that's another issue, maybe another topic for another day, because a lot of brothers, they heard about that. I see brothers leave the deen or start practicing Islam because they want to marry their women and they tell them no. And I've been through that a few times. And I always told brothers, and I told myself, because before I first came to Islam and used to deal with that situation with Muslims, I mean, it wasn't foreign to me because I used to go to school with white people and they're very racist. A lot of prejudice. And I used to always say to myself, why marry your own enemy? Why marry your own enemy? That's what I say to myself. They hate you because your skin color. Why you want to marry with them? Because when you have children with this woman, if you eventually get the woman, if you get it, 'cause I met brothers, they find a way to get the woman with the parents hating them because of their skin color. And when the marriages fell, oh man, the sisters have it hard. Their parents don't want to take them back. They want nothing to do with them, especially if they got black kids. And if you're a brother not financially doing your business, handling your business, and the woman has to keep your kids and raise your kids, they gotta grow up with these racist grandparents and stuff. We're gonna call them nigga and all that stuff. We're gonna call them type of names in their languages and stuff. We're gonna treat them funny. We're gonna treat them like the black sheep in their family. Yeah, you're gonna have this. So I'm not crazy. You should be. If they say that you can't marry their women, that shouldn't be a problem. Allah make this earth spacious. There's too many women outnumber men. You go find a woman somewhere else. Go some other place. Go amongst your own people and marry a woman. Or go to another culture, another society, another country. The people are very similar to you. So that you will fit in. You're fit in. Go to Africa. Go to Africa and marry. Go to Africa, find a wife. Huh? But that's another topic for another day, inshallah. So, we shouldn't use these things as an excuse not to practice Islam. Like the video I just seen in some group just now. This dude smoking a blunt. Why you don't want to practice Islam no more? And he's smoking a blunt. I said, you took the blunt over to Islam? Miskeen. Rajul Miskeen. Rajul Miskeen. Wallahi, Miskeen and Jahil. I hope he replied to me because he's arguing with me right now in the comment box. Hope I could probably reach out to this guy. Because he's mad with the Muslims. And I told him I could understand his grievance. I can understand his grievance, but when he's smoking the weed, it shows me he has no intellect. But his grievance about Arab, he's like that. Yes, because Islam is weak. Don't have a good understanding of the fundamentals of Islam. And yeah, the Arabs, they took their people and they took his peoples where he's from and they misdirected them. Yes, I agree with him with those grievances because that happened. I see that a lot in many of our communities, and many of ourselves. And the guy said he's not Arab. And at the end of the day, he's black. Because being Muslim don't mean you have to be Arab. Just like we have colonialism. People are affected by colonialism. You have black people in America. We become Muslim. We want to be like the Arab. And in reality, a lot of times, you're not even being like them. You're being like the colonialist Arab. A lot of Arab countries, they're colonialized. They've been colonialized. Egypt, for sure. They don't even wear jalabi in Egypt. You notice the president in Egypt, he don't wear no jalabi, he wears suit and tie. And suit and tie didn't come from no Arab. There ain't no Arab Middle Eastern culture. The president of Egypt, the president of Jordan, they wear a suit and tie. That's not Arab dress. It's not Islamic dress. It's not even the Arab cultural dress. That come from the colonialists who took over their countries. You see, like the Saudi king and them, they wear their jalabiyah. They have some type of culture with them. Look at the Yemen. Even the president of Yemen, he has a suit and tie because they've been colonized by the British. So you sure you practice Islam or you practice colonialism? Colonialized Arab. People that say it, black Arab nationalists, they say Arab nationalists. You have Arab nationalists, yes. There's something called Arab nationalism, yes. It's deeply rooted in their culture. But why the Arabs start practicing and pushing Arab nationalism? Because they've been colonialized for a long time by the European. That's why Arabs in their education, because I lived in Egypt. My wife is Egyptian. She be telling me stuff. I said, oh, that's that colonialism stuff. That Arab nationalism stuff is pushed so hard because they've been ruled long time by the British and for many, many, many years by the British and many, many years by the Turks. So that's why they pushing that Arab nationalist stuff, which right now is not benefiting none of them. So how long are we going to be, I want to be Arab and this and that. Be Muslim. Learn Islam. So you have some Arab. I live in an Arab country. Some guy told me in Egypt one day, I never marry myself to some black person. Some Arab told me this. Man, this dude was even staying where we was. We let this guy stay a couple of days where we live, and he was talking like this. So I just listened to him. He's giving me reasons why that a black person should not marry an Arab. This is guy, Jahil. Wallahi, Jahil Marakkab. So he showed me some pictures of him in UK and Europe. Man, this dude had on baggy jeans. I said, man, you look just like a black dude. I said, you hate black people so much? Why you dressed like one? I said, you like a black person. I wish I could post his picture here. I might do that because I know he on Facebook. He always be trying to add me. I don't even add that dude. Always trying to add me on Facebook. I don't never add this dude. I'm going to go look him up. I'm going to show you how this dude look like. And they think that's Islam. And this is the Arab who is the Jahil. This is the Arab who is Jahil. The Arab who is Jahil, this is them. They're not a sheikh. They're not alim. They're not sheikh, not alim. Even some of the sheikh might feel this way. People have their preference. They have their ideas. If they're like this, so what? So what? Do you need them to survive? They don't want to give you oxygen to breathe. Your risk comes from these peoples. So if I was Muslim and there's some Arab Muslims and they had some sheikh, you take what you need and you keep it moving. Because even the Arabs did that in the past. When they conquer other places and conquer other nations. The people who they conquer over, they have some science, some knowledge, some type of science, some type of technology or science. They learned it from them. Even if they was disbelievers, they learned it from them and they use it for the benefit of the Muslim. And the benefit for their cause. Look at now. Some brother made a video talking about people in Saudi, English teachers, the white people, the English teachers and stuff in Saudi, don't want black people. Why I'm listening to this stuff? I said, okay. But I said, you don't see, look, they're not crazy about white people in Saudi. Because Arab culture, I understand Arab culture. They love white people, but at the same time, they don't love white people. They just love Arab and Arab culture. They might admire white people and stuff, right? And some of them want to be like Europe and Europeans. Some of them, yes, they do want this. But even in Saudi, in the Kharij, they don't want to have their nation like Europe. They don't want their women like whores in Europe and America. They don't want their women on the street pregnant by this dude, don't know who the baby father. They don't want this stuff in their culture. So they learn English. It's not to bring English because they want the Western culture, even though it's going to come with the language. It's going to come with the language. But they take what they need to see as the benefits for business purpose, and they leave the rest. Same thing. The Arabs might be prejudiced. They might have see things with them. Take what we need and just move. Keep it moving. Don't get emotional about the thing. Take what is useful. You need to understand Islam. Quran is in Arabic. You got to understand Arabic. Can't teach yourself Arabic. I don't care what anybody says. I met brothers who know Arabic very strong, very good, taught themselves, but they do have mistakes with them. I tell them sometimes. Like one of my friends, one of my teachers taught himself Arabic, had a teacher, but his teacher was self-taught. When it comes to Al-Irab, he doesn't do Irab properly. And I went to school in Egypt, and I learned what is Irab and how to do Irab properly. So I said to my brother, I said, because he never studied with somebody. So you have to have a teacher to learn the religion. Look at the isnad. Has a chain. Knowledge has a isnad. Allah revealed the Quran to the Prophet Muhammad. Who come with the revelations? Jibril. Came to the Messenger of Allah with the Quran. Who did the Prophet teach? He taught his companions the deen, the Quran. So this deen has a isnad, has a chain of narration. You need to have a teacher who is qualified. So, hey, they might not like me because of my skin color. They might not want me to marry their women. So what? I get what I need that benefit myself and our peoples, and use it to our advantage. For example, if we as black people, black American, if we accept anybody from any society, for example, We accept anybody from any society. Okay, black people, we like this in America. We cool. We accept people. Okay. If they're in their culture, don't accept people from different race, different backgrounds, who are Muslims, different race and backgrounds who are actually Muslims. They don't accept them, and they can't work together with other Muslims. This is why they can't lead other Muslims. If we have no problem accepting people, no matter what their ethnic group is and their background, if we start learning Islam and implementing it, do you think Allah might not one day give us some power? Because we're implementing the book. We're not going to be prejudiced against other Muslims because of their skin color or their race. Maybe one day Allah might put a person like us in power. Look at the Sahabas. Look at the Sahaba and the Tabi'een. They were not racist. They were not racist. No one here can say that the Sahabas as a group were racist and biased. Because they learned Islam from the Prophet ﷺ. And this is why Islam spread. And the Muslims of this early generation cultivated the world. Not just the Muslim. They cultivated the world. The world came to them from all type of knowledge. So if Arab want the Arab nationalism, they want that, let them have that. But if you take the Islam and learn it the proper way and implement it, you not think Allah will give you a hand over other people? What's the difference between the believer, the black and the white Muslim? The Arab and the non-Arab, what's the difference between them? No difference except for the one who what? Fear Allah. In the eyes of Allah, the one who fear Allah. The one who has taqwa. This one is important, has value to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The one who has taqwa. So if you have the religion and you fear Allah, you can be just with any Muslim. Do you think Allah not going to give you a position over other groups of peoples? He's going to prefer you over other groups and people? Only thing you have to do is learn, understand, implement, hear and obey. And Allah will give you this. Take what people might say there's a weakness for us as black people. We accept anybody. Make that your strong point. And make our weakness, make another weakness of our strong point. Our weakness is also, we don't want to learn religion. We don't want to learn this deen. If we learn this religion and be serious about this deen, it would take Islam very far for us and Islam in America. Now we'll end with this. You have the people with black nationalists. We have many of them in our communities for the War of the Muhammad community. And if I have any of them listening to me or see this video, I'd like to say something. War of the Muhammad is not the Imam of the Muslim world. Because he had a lot of prejudice against Arab Muslim. And you listen to his talks, you can hear it. I'm not wearing the qamis. I'm not using the miswak. All these things are from Islam. And because he hated these things that Arabs used to do from Islam, is the reason why Allah didn't make him imam or example or scholar for the Muslim world. Because he's prejudiced. And he had a lot of things incorrect about his understanding of Islam. If you got rid of that, these prejudice, these racism, and took knowledge seriously, you could have I meet a lot of people from War of the community all the time. And that's all they talk about is this man. But I say in the Muslim world, his writings and stuff, I see no scholarly work. He might know Arabic language, some of Arabic language. He might have some things, but there's some things about him. There's a reason why he didn't go too far in the Muslim world, and it's related to his prejudice and his weak understanding of certain things in Islam. Because you can't truly be a Muslim and fear Allah and be racist and hate and make fun of other Muslims. لا يشكر لقوم منكم عسى أن يكونوا خير منهم. Don't mock, don't belittle one group or the other. Maybe the one you're mocking is better than the latter. It's ayat in Quran, Surah Hujurat. That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The law says about backbiting, speaking bad about people. وَلَمْ يُبْتَبْ. Whoever doesn't make tawbah, then the law says they're from the dhalimun, or they're from the misguided. So that's why Allah didn't elevate him. That's why in War of Muhammad in the Muslim community is not elevated. Allah didn't elevate him. The Arabs today, they have a lot of problems with themselves. Even amongst their own groups and amongst their own countries, they even dislike other Arabs They have even a class system with them. And outside of the class system, those in our Arab, they have problems with them also. And this is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not elevated them in our times. What about me and you? We have no problem with other people, other ethnic groups. We could be just, but we just need to have knowledge and sincerity and following up things. Then maybe we could be, Allah will give us something. Allah will give us a little bit of something. Maybe Allah will raise our status a little bit. Maybe Allah will take us out of our particular situation. But we have to fear Allah. And we can't fear Allah except if we have knowledge. Al-Quran and Sunnah. So when I talk about in this video, the topic changed a little bit, about those Muslims who start practicing Islam and left, or those on the break of leaving, and why. It has a lot of things related to knowledge, personalities, following personalities, and knowledge, and certain personalities, and lacking knowledge, personalities, and lacking the correct understanding of Islam. When we're going to be serious? Maybe another video we could talk about how to be serious. This is on Facebook. There's a lot of bickering back and forth. Salafi pubs, Shadid Muhammad, this and that. This personalities. I'm going to really say Shadid Muhammad, Salafi pubs, Abu Khadija. None of them can get you in Jannah. Abu Osama, Mufti, Ali Davis, Abu Khadija, Sheikh Tahir. None of the individuals can get you in Jannah. These individuals can't get you in Jannah. What happened if they die? This individual, someone from these individuals. May Allah preserve them. What happened if they die? What about my relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Maybe they can help you get a relationship with Allah. Teach you, educate you, things like this. But it's not about these personalities. And not just these brothers. Because these brothers, Mufti, I like the brother. Shadid Muhammad, I'm not okay with everything he said. But I understand his points he's made. And other people I mentioned. Abu Khadija, Salafi pubs. What that has to do with your relationship with Allah and the Quran and Sunnah and implementing Islam. And this is what many of the Muslims I see on Facebook, we get problems into. Either we're from this group or we're for that group, or these brothers or that brothers. Okay, what about Allah? What about being for Allah? What about Hizbullah? What about the party of Allah? And the reason why we're having these problems and we're not having these, and the connection is not there for some of the Muslims, the connection with Allah is not there because we're caught up with personalities and we're caught up with group and grouping and cliques and being followers and groupies and cliques. This is what we are busy with because this is part of American society. Because I find even with Salafi pubs today, they're like looking at the Kufar version of tabloid news. Go pick up the book of the ulama and let's look at them and read them. Is what the things the scholars produce and what Salafi pubs produce, put them side by side and see how they're the same. They're not the same. They're not the same. How do I get my knowledge to the level of the scholar or a scholar? Then I have to have some sincerity. I have to have what you call ikhlas. I have to have somebody to take knowledge from, but I have to be serious. I have to be a very serious Muslim. Many of us, we don't know how to be a serious Muslim because in America, religion and Islam in America is a hobby, is a leisure thing. How we used to practice, if we were Christians before, how we used to practice Christianity before, Sunday goers. Only on Fridays, only in church, only in front of people. Leisure. Reality, Christianity is like partying. Go to church, it's like partying because it's music. Entertainment. How many of us practice Islam? Is it entertainment? Like fun, games and fun. If the learning is not fun, we don't want to learn. We're going to take Islam seriously. You should take Islam seriously. You should take learning your religion seriously, because when you die, and none of us going to live forever, when you die, how serious you took this deen, you're going to see it on day, you're going to see when you go to the grave. How serious you took the deen, you're going to see when you die. How serious you took the deen. You're going to see when you die. Wasting time, Qala Wakila, he said, she said, if this group fight with that group, there is no barakah in none of these things. Learn your religion. Forget Facebook. A good 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, it wasn't no Facebook. Some of us are getting some information now, mashallah tabarak. It connects people's. Internet is a wasila. It's a means to connect or connection with people from far. So you have access to certain type of information, get access to certain type of things. But many people don't know how to use and utilize information. What is good information and what is bad information. What is useful information and what is not useful information. What information or what thing on the internet is wasteful time and what is beneficial time. And I'm talking to myself first and foremost. When we're going to take the Islam serious. Because today the example is talking about how we bring these peoples back to the Islam. If we're not making the Islam serious in our home, in our community, you can't bring these people back in. Because when they come, they're going to say, oh, nothing changed. You heard me? They're going to say, oh, nothing changed inside the masjid. Nothing changed inside the community. So we have to bring change. And we end with that. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik wa shallam. Anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.